This week on the Computer Chronicles, how to solve your storage problems. We'll show you how to compress files so they take up less space. We'll show you how to store your files in cyberspace rather than on your hard drive. We'll visit a guy with a big storage problem, hundreds of thousands of photos to save, and we'll look at some hardware solutions like the new Spark Drive, a gigabyte on one removable cartridge, and the Dynamo 640, a magneto-optical drive that'll last almost forever. Plus the latest storage solution from iOmega, the Click Drive. And my pick of the week, throw away that mouse, I'll show you the new LCD pen tablet. It's all coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro1 software, educational software for young adults, and by Z Auction, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support, and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world. Because the world runs on Windows.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet. Well, with routine applications asking for 40 or 50 or more megabytes of your hard drive these days, it's no wonder that one of the biggest headaches for PC users is hard drive space. Where do you put all this stuff? It doesn't matter how big your hard drive is, you will very quickly run out of space. Now, getting more storage capacity is one solution, but compressing your files so they take up less space is another solution. And I guess that's your solution on the Mac with StuffIt. And just basically, how does compression work? How can I take a file this big and make it this small?
Well, a very simple example of that is, say you have an occurrence of the word "the" 100 times in a document.
Yeah.
If you take a single bit of information to represent that word "the," you've automatically used a lot less space.
Okay, so that one word took up this much space, now it takes up that much space,
That's
and you just say, hey, that same thing again.
Exactly, and there are other methods of doing
Yeah.
it, but that's a very basic.
All right, let's take a look and show us an example of how you would do that. Suppose I have a lot of Word files. Let's take the word processing documents, for example. I don't always access them, and they're taking up a lot of space on my hard drive. How would I compress those to reduce the amount of space?
Okay, we've added that simplicity of compression into the operating system by, here's a folder called Word Documents.
And it's 7 megabytes right now.
That's right.
And you probably never access those. They're old files.
Yeah, they're just there in case I need them.
Right.
And I basically have to add our extension .sit, which represents StuffIt.
So say, now make them StuffIt files.
Now make it one StuffIt archive.
And that's it.
That's it. It's actually compressing them for me.
And it's actually doing that in real time right now, that quickly, finding all those
That
thes
quickly.
and shortening them up?
Absolutely.
And so we started out with 7 megs, and what is the file now that you've, a half a meg?
A half a megabyte.
1/14 the
It's about-
size?
Yeah, a little more than 90% compression.
Wow,
That's
that's
right.
amazing. All right, my concern is what happens when I now need that file and I want to unstuff it? Can I feel secure that I'll get that original file back in readable form?
Actually, yes. StuffIt Expander is our freeware product that anybody can download and use. And simply by dropping that on StuffIt Expander, you can expand that. Now, say you go to a machine, you don't have access to download this.
Yeah.
You can build in the code into this file. Self-extracting archive is what we call it, .sea. And now, by just changing the name again in the Finder, you have an application. I can double-click on this on any machine.
So that decompression engine is now built into that stored compressed file, and it'll come back.
And it'll basically say, give me all the files uncompressed.
All right, next question I have for you. I may compress a lot of stuff, but I want to transfer them to floppies and get them off my hard drive, but the file or folder is still too big for a floppy. What do I do then?
Okay, what we have for you there is a drop segment Dropbox. It's a part of StuffIt Deluxe. We actually have an alias to it on the desktop. This is a 2.1 megabyte file here.
Okay.
And you just simply drop that onto drop segment. It's already pre-configured for floppy. You can choose any size of media that you want to do it to, removable cartridge. And now I have 2 segmented files representing the original file, and each one of those.
Let's just see. So 1.3, you went to the limit of the first floppy. So we just went in there, figured out where's a safe way to cut this file up into 2 pieces.
Exactly, so it make it fit.
And I can get that back together again by using those floppies and putting it back on my hard drive.
Exactly.
What about applications? Can I compress applications, not only files?
You can compress applications, folders, whatever you want. Here's an example. I've got 4 folders of applications, and I don't use those applications very often. So I've got compressed archives of that. Now, the size, original size was 143 megabytes. The compressed size is only 35 megabytes.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of space. Now, I can actually operate on these folders.
Even in the compressed version, you can look inside and see what's there.
That's right. We call it the Stuff It browser, and it looks just like the Finder.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, if you think you have hard disk storage problems, how would you like to be the guy in charge of the San Francisco Digital Library? He was told to store over 250,000 JPEG and GIF images. No surprise that job required a rather high-end solution.
San Francisco's sparkling new main library is a palace of high technology. Inside the streamlined building are banks of computer terminals for catalog searches and internet access. Soon, patrons will be viewing digitized versions of the library's rarest photos and documents as well.
I think there's two main goals in mind with digitizing the photographs. One of them is conservation of the photographs themselves, because they are so fragile, and the less they have to be handled, the better. And the other reason is access. We wanted to give wider, better access to our photo collection, and one way to do that is to digitize them and eventually get them up on the web so more people could see them.
After the historical photo collection, sheet music, and rare pulp paperback art of the 1940s and 50s will be put into cyber storage. Moving just some of the library's 350,000 photos on disk will eliminate much of the searching and handling of thousands of file folders. But digitizing ancient artifacts creates some new problems as well.
One example is glass plate negatives, and here's one. And they're fairly fragile, and it's difficult to let people use these. It's hard to see the image. And one thing we've discovered with digitizing is that we can scan this image in, and then using another program we can reverse it, and we have a positive available for the researcher.
The library chose a software program called Future Arts to catalog, store, and compress their images. Patrons retrieve compressed files stored on disk, but backup copies are stored on magnetic tape.
In this case, we have a higher resolution image that we can use as an archival purpose, and also as a backup. If anything were to go wrong with the compressed image, we could go back to the tape and then reload the original image.
Project managers have begun to put some of the photo collection on the internet as well. But whatever the content or form, library archivists are eager to maintain the appearance and availability of original documents.
The database will give wider access to people, a lot of them who aren't here, who can't physically be here, so it'll just be a research tool. But yes, we're not going to replace the originals by the digitized image by any means. It's not like some forms or records that government agencies want to replace one with the other. We will always keep and cherish the original photographs.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
Well, one way to solve your storage problem is to dump the stuff somewhere else, but that has not always been an easy thing to do up until the dawn of the internet age. Now you can send your files off into cyberspace and know they're safe, and I guess, Bill, that's the whole point of what you guys are doing. This is sort of what, like a virtual hard drive up in space somewhere, or in your mainframe in Pittsburgh?
That's correct, Stewart. We have a data center in Pittsburgh that stores terabytes of information back there.
All right, now how do I actually do this? I have a bunch of junk on my machine. I want to get it off onto your machine. Explain how this process works, or show it to us.
Sure. What we have here is we have a product called Safeguard Interactive Backup.
So I buy a piece of software and sign up for your service.
That's correct.
And
you can download it from our website or buy it at retail locations. Okay. And it's very simple. It's straightforward. You double-click on it, and this works with your internet service provider just like your email or web browser.
So we're online right now.
That's correct.
To your service.
We select our disk drive, and we select a file folder.
Okay, now this is my local hard drive right now?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. And we select the files or information that
you're saying these are the files I want to dump over to you into your service.
And that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just say start the backup. And what we're doing here now is connecting into Safeguard's facility in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And we're making sure that it's a secure, private, and confidential connection back there, fully encrypted. And you'll see the information move out here shortly.
So I'm literally right now uploading my files to your machine back there in Pittsburgh now, and I have a encrypted, secure, compressed version of it on your machine.
That's correct. You have a fully private storage area that belongs to you alone there.
Now, is there any limit to how much storage I can use?
Well, I think we think is the good news. You can store as much information as you like, and for a 1 month or a 1 year subscription.
Now, how safe is this stuff? I mean, are you backing up your own stuff? Can I dump it off my local drive and feel safe that I can get it back?
We make 2 copies of everything. So when the information arrives at our facility, it's actually stored twice. And a second copy, that second copy that we store actually goes to another facility.
All right, so it says it's been done. Now, how much did you just ship off into space there?
Oh, I would say we probably shipped off about 100,000 bytes there, maybe 200,000 bytes.
All right, now can I automate this process so that it happens in the middle of the night and it just dumps my stuff into your machine and clears up space?
Yes, you can. There's in the Windows 95 system tray, you'll see a little icon down here with a clock on it, and you can just select the days of the week or time of day that you want to back up and save it, and then every night your system will automatically be uploaded.
What do I want to do when I get those files back? How complicated is that, and how safe is that?
Well, it's just as simple as backing it up. We're going to select the restore feature here, and we're going to select our disk drive here that we originally saved the information to, and we're going to
just bring it back from your storage space into mine.
That's correct. And if you see, I selected 3 files here, and I'm going to select here from the menu Start Restore. And we can restore them to their original location on our hard drive, or we can restore them to an alternate location, and away the information goes.
Could I do this with applications also, dump some of my apps that I don't use all the time and just call them back from you when I need them?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the nice things about this product, Stewart, is that the compression technology, even though we have thousands of Windows 95 users, we actually only keep 1 copy of that application back at Safeguard. And we know that it's an exact identical copy to the one that you have.
All right, now what does it cost me to do all this?
It costs $99 a year. For
$99 for all the storage I want for a year?
That's correct.
It's cheaper than buying a drive.
That's, I think, the idea.
I like it. Thank you very much.
Sure.
All right, well, the usual solution to finding more storage space for your computer is to buy an extra drive, not necessarily another hard drive, maybe one of those high-capacity removable drives like the zip drive from iOmega, or the newest solution we're going to show you, which is the Spark drive from SideQuest. Gary, let's explain that difference. Most people, the zip thing has sort of become a standard for a lot of people. How is a Spark drive different from a zip drive?
Well, the zip drive is like a big floppy drive, whereas the Spark drive takes all the technology that's found in your hard drive and makes it removable. So it's like a hard disk drive with performance and speed and all the things you get with a hard drive.
So you're saying I could really run high-demand applications right off my Spark drive, which I couldn't do off a zip drive.
Absolutely.
All right, now you have 2 versions. This is a parallel port version, which I would have?
This is the parallel port external version that could plug either into your notebook or to your desktop computer. And then also
you've got an internal version there?
Yes, this is an internal IDE version that plugs into the same port that your internal hard drive plugs into.
Okay, and how much storage can I get on one of your cartridges?
Each cartridge holds 1 gigabyte of storage.
Gig?
Yes.
So this little thing is basically a 1 gig hard drive, only I can pull the gig out and carry it with me.
It's basically as big a hard drive as you want it to be, 1 gig at a time.
Keep on putting more cards.
Yes.
All right, show us what the performance is, because it seems to me that's the key. If you say this stuff is really fast, you've got some demonstrations there. I mean, you've got videos, for example. Can you run those right off this Spark drive?
I sure can. Well, this is a video clip here that was just a common normal TV show. And it's actually running, as you can see, right off of the drive.
It's playing off one of these cartridges,
exactly.
Here, not off the hard drive. What are there numbers? I mean, is this like a fast CD-ROM drive? Is it really like a hard drive in terms of access time?
It's 12 milliseconds access time. It's got the same size cache. It looks just like a hard drive in performance.
All right, I see you've got Quake up here, and that's a demanding application that needs a lot of fast action.
This is actually the demo that comes on the Quake software itself. As you can see, we're not playing the game here, but it's running the demo right off of the cartridge that you would normally get with Quake, and it's full screen, fully interactive, and full motion.
So the idea, again, this is not really a big floppy drive. This is a hard drive that's removable either in the drive itself or the cartridge itself.
Exactly, and it gives you that level of transportability, removability, and it's like the ideal second hard drive in your system.
All right, let me ask you another question. If you can stop the Quake demo for a minute. I like the idea of portability, obviously. If I have a big PowerPoint presentation, and those things can be pretty big, and I don't want to carry around the whole machine, but just maybe the presentation on a cartridge. Show me how
Sure.
quickly I could transfer a file.
Well, if I go into my desktop computer here and I look in the My my documents file, where typically I've got a presentation here called Gary's presentation. I would take this.
That's a 6 megabyte file.
Right. I would take this presentation here, and if you see the Spark drive is marked
that's
removable.
the L drive right here?
Right, and I would just take it, drag it on over to the removable drive, and it's done.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Now, what does it cost me to do all this?
The Spark drive is $199 for both the internal or the external version, and the cartridges are 3 cartridges for $99 or a single for $39.
That's pretty cool. The Spark drive. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, well, what about lasers and optical storage devices? If you have big-time storage needs, lots of graphics and multimedia files, you might want to look at a magneto optical drive like the Dynamo 640. We found one in use at a graphics shop in San Rafael, California.
At California Graphics near San Francisco, jobs that were once sent to printing plants can be done in-house. Large layouts including graphics, text, and color photos are saved on removable disks that look much like floppies with some important differences. This is a magneto optical disk and drive called the Dynamo from Fujitsu. The disk contains a magnetic layer that is erased and rewritten by the heat from a laser.
The laser actually heats the magnetic material. It's a trillium alloy in the media itself up to a Curie point. That point's temperature is about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point, the magnetic material can be manipulated. The magnetic field will retain the polarity depending upon whether it's positive or negative.
The 650 megabyte disks may not be as fast or as dense as traditional hard drives, but they do have distinct benefits.
We have to support basically what the customers tell us to support. But what we've done for our own use is choose to store on an optical drive. The Dynamo Optical is what we choose for that. We use the Dynamo for archiving all our jobs. It's much more reliable than a Zip or a Jazz or the old SciQuest drives. We need to be able to read a file that we did 5 years, 10 years back.
Dynamo disks are well suited for the large scan photos and artwork that are typical of small print jobs. They are slower than all magnetic media, but offer faster performance than a rewritable CD. Dynamos can be erased up to 10 million times and are unaffected by magnetic fields.
The reason someone buys magneto optical is because they have mission-critical data. They want to have the peace of mind of knowing that after they've invested a lot of time and effort into their content, that's going to be there when they get back to it.
Magneto optical disks may have earned their stripes among the panoply of storage solutions, but the bewildering array of choices and standards makes it tough on drive customers.
It would be nice to see a convergence in the industry to one type of standard. That way, I don't have to worry about stocking 50 different drives and supporting people who have drives that are 5 years old. It would be nice to see that.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
One of the new technologies that is really pushing the need for increased storage is digital home photography. Where are you going to keep all those huge photo files you took on your last trip? You can't keep them in the camera. Well, iOmega has come up with a solution, a new storage drive called the Click. And Mike, this is the Click, and this is a weird-looking thing. What is this?
Well, actually, this is a new ultra-portable removable storage solution from iOmega, and it's designed to work with ultra-portable applications like digital cameras, handheld computers, so HPC devices like Windows CE and PDAs and Palm Tops, as well as sub-notebooks and laptop computers.
So this is a battery-operated Palm Top kind of zip drive in a way, right?
Sure. It would be like having a miniaturized zip for all of your portable digital products.
All right, now what's the media look like for this thing?
Well, this is actually what the Click media looks like here. This is 40 megabytes of storage on a very small, very thin stainless steel disk. And this is, you know, again, designed to go wherever your portable products go. Put it in your pocket, put it in your purse.
So I carry a bunch
put it
of
in your
those
case.
things around in my pocket. And how much do the cartridges cost?
This is $10 for 40 megabytes of storage. So for a digital camera, this would be like having a
whole bunch of them in your pocket, like $50.
It's a digital roll of film.
All right, now how do, okay, I'm in the field, I take a picture, I put it in here. Now how do I now get this into my computer when I get home?
Well, there's several ways, but we'll be shipping the product with a desktop dock solution. And the desktop dock solution, since this is a battery-powered device, will actually charge the batteries as well as provide either a SCSI or a parallel connection back to the desktop.
All right, let's try to show a real application. We've got a digital camera here, so how would I actually use this now?
Well, I think one of the interesting things that's happening with digital cameras is they're going to higher resolution.
Right.
So megabyte-sized
Big
files are not uncommon. So what you'd want to do is snap a picture.
Okay.
And if you run out of storage in the field, you typically have to get back to your laptop to download. Well, with the click drive, what you'll be able to do is eject your storage.
So that's the camera storage. Now I can then copy that into my click drive. Is that the idea?
That's right. You'll be able to basically connect these two together.
Right.
And then you'll be able to execute a copy, erase the contents of the flash memory, put it right back in your camera, and start shooting again.
Now we should explain, this is a pre-production model, so you can't really do it right now.
That's right.
Now, suppose we had done this. I've transferred it from this little thing to that little thing. Now what do? I take that little click disk and take it out and put it into my computer?
Exactly right. So essentially when you're in the field, you're untethered from your desktop. When you get back to the desktop...
All right, so I could just open this thing up over here and pop it?
Exactly.
Okay, and there's the little thing with all my pictures on it now.
That's right.
Take that over here and just now transfer it to my desktop.
Exactly.
All right, now show us, you've already done that before, so we could move along quickly, and show us the photo that you had just taken.
Well, as you know, I took a photograph with this Kodak DC-210,
Yeah.
and I've simply taken the disc from my click drive, put it into the one on
And
the
I
dock.
could be carrying it around with this kind of thing.
That's right.
Or lots of these things. Now, how about video? Can I use this for video files also?
Absolutely. One of the applications would be for an MPEG motion video camera, and you'd be able to store 4 to 6 minutes of MPEG video.
Can you show us a video clip running off one of these things?
Absolutely.
There's an MPEG file.
More fan mail for you. Let's see, we have email and voicemail here.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah, the frame rate is quite high, as you can see. This is about a megabyte per second file transfer.
All right, finally, you've got a little sort of PC card. Well, maybe we can stop the video. Let's stop. Well, now, what's the deal here? Is this a new way you're going to use this?
Well, I think the real advantage of this product is when it's designed into digital cameras and handheld computers. So this is a very portable internal version of the drive, about Type 2 PC
So that can be
card
sitting in a
form
Windows
factor.
CE palm top.
Absolutely.
And I've got my little baby hard drive with me.
Exactly.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, that's our look at storage solutions. Next up, another special preview of Windows 98, and I'll be back in just a moment with my pick of the week.
One of the great things about Windows 95 are shortcuts, which are links to programs and files on your desktop. You can do a similar thing in Windows 98 within the browser. Let me show you how it works. I'll launch the Windows 98 browser, maximize it. Now remember, this is a fake URL. This is not a live URL, but all of these tips work with a real URL. I'll go to another page, and I'm going to make this my home page by dragging and dropping this to the home button. When I let go, I get a dialog box. I'll say yes. And from now on, when I launch my browser, this is the page that will come up. Now I can drag and drop to the Favorites button as well. Clicking on Favorites, I get all my favorites here, including the shortcut that I just dragged and dropped. Now this can be moved within the Favorites menu by just dragging and dropping. Now I'm going to show you how to create a shortcut. It's the easiest thing in the world. Simply drag and drop the URL to the desktop and let go. I can throw away this URL if it's local by dropping it on the recycle bin, or I can put it on my Start menu by dropping it on the Start button. And here it is. Those are just some of the things you can do with the Windows 98 browser. You can also do these with the Internet Explorer 4.0 browser, which is free from the Microsoft site. Back to you, Stewart.
Now for my pick of the week. A few weeks ago, I showed you a cool little drawing pad from Wacom that lets you do high-quality pen input with your computer. Well, now the same folks at Wacom have come out with an incredibly innovative way to interact with your computer, a combination LCD screen and pen pad. One of my passions in computing is to find a better way to interface with the PC. The keyboard is an artifact from the typewriter days, the mouse, the trackball, that can't be the ultimate solution, but this new idea from Wacom may be. It's called the PL300 LCD tablet, and watch what I can do. Here is my computer. No CRT, no keyboard, nothing, just the screen and my pen. Obviously, in creative applications like a paint program, this is a very natural way to work, but even in a word processor, it's a very easy way to navigate around a document, do some editing of text, and so on. If you're browsing the web, this is a terrific way to move around. Usually when you're on the web, you're not very keyboard dependent. You're just clicking onto different things, and it's a very natural way to do it. And of course, this is a great way to play solitaire. Well, after you've done this for a while, you'll find it extremely awkward and inefficient to go back to the keyboard and the mouse and the monitor. And if you add a character recognition program or an on-screen touch keyboard, you can do it all just from an LCD pad. It really is a natural way to interact with information, just like in the old days when you sat there with your yellow legal pad and your pencil. This is not an inexpensive solution, and it is probably the first generation of future solutions like this, but it is a lot of fun and in some cases a very efficient way to use a personal computer. It's the PL300 LCD tablet from Wacom. That's it for this edition of the Chronicles. We'll be back here again next week with more of the latest in hardware, software, and the internet. If you'd like any more information about anything you saw today, please check out our website at cmptv.com. That's it for this week's edition. I'm Stewart Cheifet. Hope we'll see you here next time.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro1 software, educational software for young adults, and by Z Auction, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support, and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world. Because the world runs on Windows. To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.
Next week on the Computer Chronicles, the latest Internet technology as we visit the 1998 Internet Showcase in San Diego, California. Think the web is boring? We'll show you the latest efforts to bring more animation and 3D to the net. If you're still having trouble finding what you want on the web, we'll show you the newest tools for tracking down the right sites. And if you wish you could keep everything on your computer without having to print, we'll look at the newest ways of managing on-screen information. Plus, new ways of using the net, from email in your car to turning on the lawn sprinklers. The hottest new technology from Internet Showcase, next week on the Computer Chronicles.